I'm joined today, which is fantastic, by Brad Revill, who's the Managing Director of BRT Agronomy, who are a commercial partner with us at Gulf Industry Asia. And basically, Brad, welcome to the chat. How are you?
Thanks, Sean. Thanks for having me. I'm good, thank you.
Good. So, do you mind telling us a little bit about BRT and a little bit about your background?
Sure. BRT Agronomy, we're an independent agronomy consulting company. We're based in Southeast Asia and work all around Asia and in Australia. So we work mostly with golf course clients, directly with owners and club managers. And we work together with the local teams and superintendents.
Okay.
Basically very hands-on practical advice and guidance. And yeah, we really pride ourselves on being independent, offering non-biased advice.
Okay, good. What kind of areas do you normally work in within the clubs then? Or what sort of subjects do you consult on and things like that?
It varies so much between clients. Like every client has their own kind of individual needs.
Okay.
But a lot of the time, like you get a call like the course isn't kind of performing up to like everybody's standard, or they might have a like particular problem with a lot of disease pressure or some other problems during like a difficult wet season, or maybe
it's quite common in Asia, right, with all the rainstorms and typhoons. A lot of it.
Yeah, it's quite a tough place to grow grass in the wet season. And also, like sometimes you get owners or committees calling up about guidance for like a junior superintendent or something like that. So we offer like agronomy support through the year kind of thing. So
nice, good. Do you mind telling us a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are now?
Sure. Well, I'm from Australia, from a small town, southeast corner of Australia. Started there on a small country golf course for quite a number of years, and then started internationally in America on the Ohio program. And then after that, went straight into Asia. So I was superintendent in Brunei for a number of years, and then I got a director of GCM role at a club in Thailand, and then from there I moved into consulting, started this business in end of 2017, and yeah, I've been consulting at a lot of different clubs around Southeast Asia and Asia and Australia. And I also now work with, I've been working with Geo for quite a number of years, verifying golf facilities around Southeast Asia, and now also some major golf tournaments in Asia and Australia. And we're also independent consultants with Brookside Labs in America, so we do a lot of soil and water testing. So it's been a great experience starting this company. I just wanted to help as many people as I can, and all of the experience in different countries and tournaments are things it's been really fulfilling. So
like one of our aims for Gulf Industry Asia was to almost be able to highlight the cultures and the different clubs and golf over in Asia. How did you find it when you first arrived for the first time? Was it a culture shock, or?
Yeah, I guess it was. Like my first job in Asia was in Brunei, so totally different culture to what I'm used to. So different base religion, very small like population in the country. Yeah. And just the work ethic was very different to what I was used to. So, it was, you have to adapt quickly, basically, and be very open to a lot of things. And, I always tell people, like, you don't let go of your standards, but you just got to adjust your expectations a little bit, like in regards to maybe how long things take. And
you've definitely got to have a bit of patience, right?
Yes, definitely
Nice.
need to be patient. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. I really wanted to just, pick your brains and be able to share some of your expertise as well with the industry. So I really wanted to talk to you today about master planning, especially with agronomy, how important it is for clubs to be considering in different aspects as well. So for those that are listening and reading that don't know, do you mind telling us like what is a master plan and why would I need one?
Sure. Master plan is generally just like a long-term guide for a golf facility or any facility to a facility. It kind of sets priorities, goals, objectives for the club long-term. So no matter if there's a committee or management change or ownership change or any kind of change like that, the goals and objectives are still clear, and the club can stay kind of keep their direction and not get sidetracked so easily.
Yeah. All right. So who would be involved on the master planning? Who would be the different stakeholders, either between yourself and the club? And
yeah, so usually it depends if it's privately owned or not, but if it'll either be the owner, the direct owner, or the committee, and then the club manager or management company, and superintendent, and then that would be the main core group. And then if they wanted to get other experts involved, then depending on what kind of projects or goals they have in mind at the club, like good options would be like an architect, a golf course architect for any kind of design changes or anything, or overall strategy, an agronomist, and irrigation designer is another good option as well. Just depends on what kind of goals the club has.
Okay, nice. Would you be able to just give us some examples in terms of, the inclusions of a master plan?
Sure. So as I kind of alluded to with the irrigation designer, so irrigation design improvements is a pretty big one. Like that's one of the most important pieces of infrastructure for any golf course. It's like the lifeblood of the course, right? The irrigation system.
Yeah.
So they usually have a lifespan depending on what the pipe is made out of. PVC, HDPE, generally somewhere between 20 and 40 years they last for, depending on what they're made out of. The sprinklers might have a little bit of a different lifespan to that, maybe a bit shorter. So the club definitely needs to prepare itself for some maybe major kind of replacements or upgrades to different sections of irrigation. So, each club have different budgets. So the good thing about having a master plan and planning in advance rather than waiting for it to break first and then implementing emergency repairs is you can set aside a certain budget before that happens, and maybe you just go like a few holes per year you would replace the irrigation system. Maybe you do 9 holes. Maybe you want to do all 18 in a year, depending on your budget. So,
have you seen a trend in terms of clubs having issues with that? When you look at Asia, obviously going through a bit of a golf boom, quite a while ago, and obviously now probably coming up to that time where some of these projects are probably either are breaking or becoming a problem, or are now at the forefront of someone's mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of golf clubs in around Southeast Asia that were built in the 90s, and they're coming to that age now where a lot of things are starting to fail and need replacement. So and unfortunately, a lot of owners or management companies that I talk to, they don't have an idea of how much it actually costs for these things to replace, and like what kind of lifespan they usually have. So most clubs, it comes as a surprise for them that they need to replace either a whole system or start considering that, and then how much it's going to cost them. So it's definitely something to get in a plan first, I think, before it gets to that stage.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, if you wait for it to break, it's going to come at a big shock. And then, depending on how the business is going at that point and how much, capital expenditure you've got sat there ready to go, it can be a real challenge for some clubs, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
you be able to give us some sorry, would you be able to give us some examples of, you know, how you would, how a master plan would be implemented within a facility?
Sure. So I think, like, if we go through like the key points, like that, or the key goals that the club would have, that would be a starting point. So some other things that you might include on the master plan would be like maybe water management, like also involved in like the irrigation system, but maybe you're in a country where water isn't as abundant, and you know, maybe the government is planning to implement new water restrictions, or they're going to change your water allocation in the next few years or something like that, and then you need to plan for that. How are you going to water the turf? Maybe you need to make your system more efficient, or just the way you water more efficient, use different technology or something. Also, maybe you're at a facility where the government's about to give you maybe some treated water, which is a different quality of water, which is going to possibly impact your turf health and performance, depending on what grass type you have. And then there's also things to consider, like drainage systems. That also has a lifespan, so getting that in the plan nice and early. There's also tree management. So if you're at a heavily treed golf course, there's some countries in Southeast Asia, they're very protective of the trees, which is great. But then that just means there's a lot more processes you have to go through before you're allowed to do anything to trees. So that makes it even more important to get in a plan if you want to change things. Bunkers, same thing. They have a lifespan. They're also quite expensive for maintenance. So in terms of labor and replacing sand and then replacing drainage material. So
I think from my experience as well, it's almost, especially being in Asia, when you do get some heavy rain, you get a lot of washouts. And if you've got if you're managing a really big facility with, you know, multiple courses, you've got a lot of bunkers out there and a lot of sand to move, which, you know, is a cost that people don't really think about.
No, it's not. So yeah, two things can come into that. So there's like bunker design would help a lot with those kind of things. So it's another good reason to get an architect involved. Maybe they can adjust the design of the bunkers to maybe flatten off well, not flatten off, but not such steep sand faces to minimize washouts. And then there's also new bunker drainage technology, which would help minimize washouts. And then, like, an agronomist could help you also choose the right bunker sand to help with that as well. So getting all those things in place nice and early will definitely help. Other things would be like machinery or equipment replacement. So another big expense for clubs, and you know, depending on whether you have a 12-month growing season or not, and how often or how many machines you have, it's going to determine like the lifespan of the machine. But generally, you see like 5 to 7 years for a piece of equipment in a 12-month growing season. Generally, you'll start to see major components fail on those pieces of equipment, and then each year it just gets more and more expensive to maintain. So having a like 5-10 year kind of replacement plan, it definitely helps identify like how much the club needs to spend each year on replacement, rather than just waiting until all of the machinery is at a point where it all needs replacing, and then you're either up for one.
Because the main product is going to be the golf course, right? And you know, the maintenance of the golf course, how it plays, how it looks, how it feels. So you know, like all these things have those impacts as well on the main product that you're trying to sell as a club.
Yeah, and no matter your budget for the golf course, whether you're a high-profile facility or a low-budget rural golf course, you still should have a plan in place, because the machines are only going to last for X amount of years. So yeah, even if you replace it once every 10 years, like, it's good to have some kind of forecast there. There's other infrastructure projects like cart path replacement, that kind of thing could be included in the plan. Also, a good one to consider is like agronomy targets. So maybe the club is looking to improve their like green speeds or firmness, or maybe there's like certain agronomic challenges that they have to face, like maybe excess organic matter. All of those things will require different maintenance practices to what is currently being implemented. So that's different changes that you can map out through the next few years. Maybe it's additional cost, maybe it's just adjusting labor. But yeah, it's good to have foresight on that.
Yeah. In terms of how would you, or how would a club be able to get started with a master plan on a couple of these subjects?
Well, after they've established their kind of overall goals or direction where they want the club to be in the next 3, 5, 10 years, then a good idea would be to establish kind of some data on where they're currently at. So if it's like an agronomy goal where they want to be, then things to do would be like organic matter testing, or regular speed testing and firmness testing, that kind of thing, so they can get some data on where they're at right now. And they can plan on what they need to do to get to where they need to be, and then just start establishing priorities. So what are the main priorities? Is it equipment? Maybe your equipment's at that, maybe it's all 7, 8 years old and it's all falling apart already. Then establish which is the high priority machinery, which you need to replace first, and then go year on year based on your budget. Get a designer involved, an architect involved if there are some changes that need to be made to the design strategy of the course, and just get pricing for everything that you want to do, and then it's easier to map out moving forward.
So nice. So if you went into a club and were to help them with the master plan, how would you what would you be able to help them with?
Basically all of what I've just said, besides the golf course design. I'm not an architect, but I can help recommend the right architect that fits their needs. But yeah, help establish what the priorities maybe should be, help identify some challenges that they may not be aware of, some things that they may need to place additional focus on that maybe they like I said, they weren't aware of. And kind of advise timelines and pricing and things moving forward.
Nice. So what if a club didn't have a set master plan or a strategic plan for the future? What type of things could go wrong? What could be the big story that you read?
Well, some examples could be like kind of dramatic, but you could have a bushfire. So if you don't have like a habitat management plan or a bushfire prevention plan, then a fire could run through the property and destroy a lot of your infrastructure. So that's one good thing to have in place. Other things are just like you get a huge bill for maybe a pump station, irrigation pump station just broke down. And you didn't have any idea that it was gradually failing, and then you're up for $500,000 to $1 million for a new pump station, which is not good to come across your desk in the morning. And another example would be these days there's a lot of health and safety compliance and environmental compliance that's getting it's changing very quickly. Like each year there's new compliance kind of thing. So
that was one thing I noticed when I first moved over to Asia, and you go and explore the different countries, the health and safety regulations and things like that are maybe not as strict as you would do for me from the UK and probably yourself from Australia. So it's, they're not things that are already implemented at clubs. So either when you go and work within a club, whether you're a manager or a consultant, then, it's definitely something to be thinking about.
For sure. Yeah. Because if you're not, following the laws and regulations in that country, and then something does go wrong, you could have a very bad day, the business. I mean, Singapore is probably, maybe Hong Kong, but they're probably a bit more advanced than other Asian countries in terms of safety and environmental compliance. But I'm sure other countries will be following suit. So it's always good to be aware of.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, is there any sort of points that you'd be able to, give some advice to someone that's obviously going through a master plan, or clubs that are thinking about going through it?
I think no matter what your budget, no matter what profile club you are, everybody should have one. Even if it's a super low budget golf course and you only need to plan to, buy another push walk mower every other year or something like that, it's still good to have foresight on that. And yeah, I think just get one in place as soon as you can. So everybody is covered for any kind of unforeseen circumstances. And then it still can be like a working document, because things change. Like, you're dealing with the environment, you're dealing with government, and you don't have complete foresight on what's going to happen, but you can try and plan as much as you can for every eventuality, contingencies and things like that. But it's good to get started, to get some kind of basic document in place, and then you can build on it moving forward.
Yeah, it was when you were talking about, obviously, water management really back in the conversation, and it reminds me of, we had quite a few hot summers last year and the year before, and there was a few golf courses that really struggled water wise, and the quality of the course really diminished, and all of a sudden it's a lot of word of mouth around the golf industry in Asia of either tourism or just even within the professional industry. It really affects then people going and visiting the course in the future.
Yeah, I think there was a survey done by a golf tour operator. I can't remember which one, but it was the conditioning standard, or like the aesthetic appeal, was like the number one attractor for guests to come and play the golf course.
I mean, I think everyone knows, if you go and play a really nice looking course that's in great condition, even if you go out there and have a bad day actually on the course, you still come away enjoying it and thinking you've had a good time, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Brad, for spending some time just to have a quick chat. Where can people find you and your BRT Agronomy?
Probably the easiest place is just our website, brtagronomy.com. We can search my name on social media, any of the platforms. Yeah.
Nice. Perfect. Thank you very much, Brad.
Thanks for having me.